How do you discipline a child that talks about suicide? Some parents might decide to be very gentle, understandable. They don't want to push the child too much. They don't want the child to be in a place where they become so depressed and they do something dangerous. I understand your love and your fear of pushing the child. But what we want to do is avoid punitive measures, which is punishment connecting. Instead, connect with the child by providing them with logical consequences for their behavior. Welcome to Illuminate Psychology with Dr. Rolla, a podcast where we delve into the world of mental health with warmth, empathy, and understanding. In this space, we explore the stories we carry, the wounds we often hide, and we shine the light on the path to healing and hope. Today's episode is about parenting in crisis. Navigating guilt and family dynamics when a child talks about suicide. This is a very tender subject. It is a reality for many parents. And I want to connect with you as a parent today, from one parent to another, to let you know that you are not alone. You are not alone. There are many parents who are suffering emotionally, feeling sad, have a sense of guilt. They are questioning what they got wrong, what they missed, how they could have prevented their child from getting to a place where they're feeling depressed and suicidal. These are normal feelings and thoughts that any loving parent would have. Today's episode is about helping you to rechannel those feelings of shock and concern and sadness into being proactive to support your child, to help your family and yourself to weather this storm. I'm going to talk about how to discipline a young person who has talked about suicide, how to work with the other children in the home if the young person has siblings. How do you work through your family dynamics because of this revelation that your child is feeling suicidal? How do you help your child with their school activities, both academic and extracurricular? And then how do you take care of yourself as you parent in this difficult time? How do you develop a safety plan for your child, for your family? As I said earlier, the pain is real. The sense of shock, the questioning of your competence as a parent. But what we know from the research is that depression and suicidality often takes place due to multiple factors. And that you are not, your parenting is unlikely the main reason why your child is feeling depressed or suicidal. It is important that you look at the problem or you conceptualize the challenges that your child is facing with a broad perspective. That broad perspective helps you to seek help and to be more proactive rather than internalizing the guilt, the shame, and the sadness, which can limit you from being able to make important decisions that are in the best interest of your child who is talking suicide and also the entire family. I wanted to say that if you are a parent who is suffering from mental illness yourself, maybe you are suffering from depression, or you're suffering right now from depression, anxiety, or trauma, it would be important for you to seek help for yourself. I know you care about your child. I know you want your child to do well. But remember that as you take care of yourself, you are going to be better able to take care of your child. Remember when you get on a flight and the flight attendant gives instructions about what to do if there's an emergency landing. They ask you to pull down the life jacket for yourself before you do that for the minor child. It's the same principle. You want to address your depression. You want to address your anxiety. Please do not fall into the trap of channeling all the focus on the child talking about suicide and forgetting that taking care of your mental health is as important. If you are depressed, please talk to somebody. Get therapy. Talk to your doctor. Get support. You want to be in the state of mind that is healthy as possible in order to parent in this time of crisis. When a child talks suicide, it is a time of crisis. Many parents are shocked that the child that they have raised in a happy, safe home is even thinking about this. But as I said earlier, there are multiple factors that underlie suicidality. And that's why taking care of your health is directly connected with being able to hopefully begin to address those multiple factors. I wanted to talk about discipline now. How do you discipline a child that talks about suicide? Some parents might decide to be very gentle, understandable. They don't want to push the child too much. They don't want the child to be in a situation where they become so depressed and they do something dangerous. I understand your love and your fear of pushing the child. But what we want to do is try to maintain a normal expectations for that child. Avoid punitive measures, which is punishment connected. Instead, connect with the child by providing them with logical consequences for their behavior. For example, if a child is messed up an area, you can punish the child by making them stay in a corner. Or you could ask the child to clean up the room as a way to show them that what they messed up needs to be corrected. In some ways, it's a punishment, but it's more connected with what they did wrong that they now need to do right. That is probably more likely a better way to discipline a child who is talking suicide. A child who is talking suicide also needs to be supported to understand that there are rules and expectations in the home. You don't want to be overly protective and you don't want to be overly punitive. Rules and expectations in the home explain to the young person and the other children in the home helps everyone to understand what the expectations are and increases the likelihood of the child who is talking suicide to do more in line with what is expected in the home. Try as much as possible to not have a different set of rules for the child who is talking suicide. Being depressed and feeling suicidal does not mean that the person should not have responsibilities in the home that are age appropriate. That can actually help the child to be more engaged with the family life and can help the child's depression. You may need to seek professional advice depending on the severity of the depression that the child is facing. You want to limit the child's activities with video games for extended periods of time, even if that is what they would rather be doing. Or any activity that involves limited interaction with others, because that can also increase isolation and increase or maintain the depression. Try to get the child involved in activities that involves socializing with family members in the home. If a child has video games or other things they enjoy, they can still do that, but make the expectations clear as to how much time you want the child to be able to use those games. Creating expectations ahead is helpful because you don't want too many surprises for a young person who is talking suicide. You want the structure to be more predictable. I would encourage you to talk to your child about the rules in the home in a way that they fully understand, and check in with them to make sure that the expectations are clear, and if they have any feedback as to how the rules are working. I liked telling my children that if there were reasons why they could not do chores in the house, maybe they had a lot of homework, that there was the room or opportunity for them to tell me about it. I want to encourage you to ask your young person who is struggling with depression and suicidal thoughts to give you feedback, so it becomes more interactive and the child feels heard. Now, what about how do you share the attention with the children in the home? If a child is talking suicide and you're taking them to a therapist or to the hospital, there is a focus on that child as the one who needs help in that time. But when the crisis and the time to go see the therapist or go to the hospital is past, you want to be very careful so that the child who's talking suicide doesn't get all the attention. You want the other children to understand that you're going to be there for them as well. In my work with parents, I have sometimes encouraged them to schedule time for each child and block it out in their schedule so that the children who are not struggling with depression can still feel heard and they can still feel connected with. We don't want a situation where all the direction and all the focus goes towards the person who is experiencing depression for extended periods of time. That is not helpful for the emotional development of the other children. You want to give the other children attention as well because you want to better understand how they're feeling about what's going on in the family. You cannot assume that they're okay because they're not talking depression. You want to be able to see how they're doing. You want to be able to monitor their well-being. And you want them to create a sense of normalcy in the home, even though things are not as normal as you would like it to be. Another important area is that you don't want to compare. You really do not want to compare, even though you may be tempted to do so. And one of the things I tell parents, and I tell myself, is that even the child who is doing well still has room for growth and development. The child who is doing well, who is not struggling, is not perfect, even though they may not be struggling the way the child who is suffering from depression is. That means that if every child in the home has room for growth and support, I am not going to allow the thought that you are not going to allow that thought that this child is doing perfectly well and this child is a failure. You never want to do that. Resist the urge to compare. Every child, each child in your home has a different personality makeup, has a different set of challenges, and there may be issues that the child who's struggling is facing that the child who's not struggling is not facing. When we compare, we're not able to look at the issues that the child who is struggling objectively. We're minimizing what that child is going through, and we run the risk of not giving the child the support that the child needs. I'm going to dwell on this point a little bit more because parents will tell me things like, oh, I'm not comparing. I know that every child is the same, but you can see by their actions and the way they treat the child who's not struggling that they prefer the child who's not struggling over the child who is. I am not here to tell you that this is always easy, but it's something, an urge that many parents have that you must resist. You don't know how far in life the child who is struggling is going to go. The fact that that young person is struggling now does not mean things are not going to be better. Please try to look at every child individually, highlight their strengths, and work with them with the areas of growth. Focus on what the child needs, both the one who is struggling and the one who is not struggling. And that will make it easier for you to see the child who is struggling as less of a burden. Children can perceive and pick up your energy if you truly prefer their sibling to them or you are comparing. Now let's talk about adjusting family dynamics. Because family dynamics always shifts when one member of the family is in crisis. The family dynamics and the vulnerabilities of the family system can be exaggerated when a child is talking suicide. Parents may be blaming each other. Some children may be walking on eggshells out of fear or concern. There's a crisis, so the family is trying to figure out how to accommodate this crisis. What do? You encourage open communication. The worst thing you can do, one of the worst things you can do, not the worst, one of the worst things you can do when a child is talking suicide is to minimize it in the family or cover it up. The best thing you can do is to take the shame from it and talk about it. Have a family meeting where the person who is struggling will be there and the other siblings will be there. In age-appropriate language, talk about how this development and how this issue and challenge can be helped and supported in the family. Let the family system, let the family members be able to talk about how they feel. And you guys need to reassure each other that your family is going to fight to stay intact and healthy and strong and supportive of each other, even in this difficult time. That way, you're giving power to the entire family system and letting each other know we are going to be there for the person struggling and we're going to be there for each other. Even though this might be a shock, this might be something we didn't expect, we're still family and we're together in this. I have actually known families that have become stronger in crisis, more communicative, more supportive of each other, more understanding, more loving, more appreciative of each other. I would even encourage you to plan family times, play board games, do activities that involves contacting each other and looking each other in the eye and play and dancing and movement. Now, what about the child who is talking suicide? Can they go back to school full-time? Should they go back to school part-time if they're in public school or private school away from the home? Should they be homeschooled? Should they continue in extracurricular activities or not? This is a difficult one because there's really no right or wrong answer, but this is the main principle I want you to hold on to. Try to maintain structure in the life of the child who is talking suicide as much as possible. If the child is going to school full time, I would rather they continue to go to school if school is safe, full time, with support systems in place. I have worked with parents to have a talk with the principal, with the child, informing the child ahead, with the child there, and explain that the child is going through some challenges. And tell the school and let the school know that your child may need to take time out to talk to somebody in the office or the school counselor. And I have known schools to be very accommodating of these changes in the child's schedule. In some cases, the school can reduce the homework. They can provide additional support with testing and giving them time to make up for missed work. I'm working with a parent right now whose child is struggling with depression. One of the things that she worked with the school about is to help the school to understand that the child is going through a difficult time. And the school agreed to give him time, some time, to complete the missed work so that he can get his grades up and he can be successful. With extracurricular activities, I would encourage that they continue those activities if it is not too intense or not overly competitive. It would be nice if the young person can engage in activities that involves team effort and such that everyone gets some credit. If it's too intense for the body or the mind, or there's some harshness on the coach, it may not be a good idea for that young person at that time. But I will also encourage you as a parent to ask the young person what they would like to do as well, and allow them to express their concerns about how they want to navigate things. Even if what you come up with in discussion with your child is not exactly what the child wants, let the child know that if you guys decide, for example, that he should be back in school full time, that is something that you are deciding now, but it's open to discussion depending on how that child does or copes with this new development. Don't be so fearful that the child could decompensate, could get worse, to the extent where you now allow them to isolate from the world. That isolation can actually make depression worse and can increase the risk of suicidality and suicidal thoughts. I want to encourage you to make sure that you are not as rigid in terms of accommodating this young person. Let them know that there's no right or wrong way, and that if they cannot handle something for good reasons, you are going to be there to look at it a different way. You want to model to this young person that there's not one way to do something and the other way is totally wrong. In some ways, you are giving them many options besides suicide, right? Which is an important theme on my website that I've been talking about in the other episodes. There are many options besides suicide. I find that when the child knows that you want them to be free to express themselves apart from you to a trusted person, that is empowering for them. I want you to let the child know that you are serious about safety and you understand how hard it can be to be going through what they're going through. And therefore you want to ask them if there's anything you need to do to make it safer for them at home. I would encourage you to take away knives, any sharp objects. But I want you to say to them, I want you to be safe in this home. What do you need from me? I want you to be able to share your feelings with me. What do you need from me to make it comfortable for you to share how you feel and what you need? I want you to compile a list of people such as the school counselor, the therapist, the medical doctor. I find that many young people will talk to their pediatrician about how they're feeling, so that you let the child know that there are resources apart from you that they can use. It broadens the child's perspective about what help looks like. Help is not just one person. Help is multiple people, organizations, and support. It gives the child hope. I want you as a parent to then start engaging in time with the child who's struggling with suicide on ways to cope. You can take walks with them, you can play board games with them. Even if you're sad and in shock, engage that child in a way that sends them the message that you see them as normal and complete, even though they're in crisis. Navigating parental guilt and working through family dynamics when a child is talking about suicide is not an easy path to be, easy challenge. But I want to encourage you that many parents have navigated this path and they're on the other side. I want you to connect with parents who have been through the same. I want you to connect with support groups. I want you to be educated more about mental health, about the stresses, about other issues that could increase the risk in general, and issues that could increase the risk for your child. In my work with children, one of the areas that I found very, very helpful that I want to encourage you as a parent is that many times the teenagers and the younger and older teenagers will not talk about how they're doing just by asking them. But when I play a board game, when I go outside and I throw the ball with them, when I worked in rural Georgia, the clinic had a lot of space in the back. So I'll go in the back of the building and we'd throw a ball and play in the back. Things that I never thought these young people would even ever say, they shared with me in play. They shared with me when we were doing normal things. Do normal, regular things with your child. And try not to do a constant question and answer. Do you want to hurt yourself? Tell me now. Try not to do that. Obviously, you need to ask because they've expressed suicide to you. But in the normal day-to-day, try to just do regular activities with them. And you will find that as you do that, they will feel more comfortable to share things with you. I want to encourage you to explore options like medication, psychotherapy, professional help, spiritual help. You never know which of these would work best. Do not totally reject one thing over the other yet. I want to encourage you to explore those different things and see how it goes. Even if you don't believe your child needs medication because you're against medication, go talk to somebody and at least get the information about the medication. And learn a little bit more about what the benefits could be. Express your concerns about that treatment, that medication or psychotherapy to the person, and let them give you the feedback you need to help allay your fears or to answer the questions you have. I want to encourage you to maintain curiosity, humility, honesty, and openness, flexibility when you navigate this difficult path. And as you do that, I pray and hope that things will get incredibly better, and that one day, very soon, you will look back and you'd have passed on to the other side, where this young person has worked through their depression, and even if it's not fully healed, they've come a long way. And they now know, the young person, and you also know, that there are many options besides suicide. So that if there's a time of crisis, you would have all these options and all this powerful information and experience from how you've handled it. Well, parent, good job. It's not easy, but working with your child can be a time of growth and empowerment for you. Make sure you take care of yourself. Work through any negative family dynamics such as high conflict, arguing, violence, aggression, anything that could be going on in the home between you and the other parent or the other family members that could increase stress for the person who is struggling with suicidality. You want to work hard for the home environment to be peaceful, to be predictable, so that we do not miss the signs that this person may need further help, or so that we do not exacerbate the stress and increase the risk of suicidal thoughts or even a suicide attempt. I have a question for you that I'd like you to answer to engage with me on this podcast. Let me find that question. As a parent navigating your child's mental health crisis, which of the following strategies do you believe would most help in managing your feelings of guilt and supporting your child's well-being? Number 1, seeking professional counseling. Number 2, joining support groups with other parents facing similar challenges. Number 3, educating yourself about mental health issues. Number 4, engaging in open and honest communication with your child. Number 5, practicing self-care and stress relief techniques. Number 6, all of the above. Please participate in this poll, and we would love to be able to share the results of this poll in future episodes. Thank you so much for watching and listening today. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Connect with us on our podcast platforms. Connect with us on AskDrRolla.com. Thank you, and see you at another episode. Bye now.